life are free. The stars belong to everyone. They gleam there for you and me.
2,500 years ago, some Chinese guy wrote a book, and in that book there is this quote. What Sun Tzu is trying to say in the particular stanza, that in actual hand-to-hand combat, it really doesn't matter how strong you are or how much endurance you have, how much stamina, any of this. What matters is how many weak points that you actually expose to the opponent. Weapons are the great equalizer. So if you have open weak points that your opponent will attack, you will get hit. That's what happened to the cave bear. So tactics define victory in combat. Doesn't matter how strong you are, how fast you are, how much stamina you have, how many tattoos you have. If your tactics are wrong, your art will crumble and you will be killed. That is what the history of combat shows us. So the question is your art, the art that you are studying, tactically correct? Or are there tactical errors? Let me give you an example. I'll show you some examples of what tactical errors are, and then you can decide yourself. So most everyone is familiar with the parries of saber fencing, right? They're what you learn when you start saber fencing, like this. This is first, going to second, going to third, going to fourth, going to fifth, and according to some people, going to sixth. Now, saber fencing supposedly comes from fencing on horseback, right? So what happens when you try to execute these parries on a horse? So here I am now riding on my horse, and I draw my sword, and I go 1, and I go 1. I can't get to 2. Does that mean that the parries that you're taught when you're learning saber fencing are wrong? I mean, you can't use them on a horse, right? Actually, no. The parries that you're taught when you're learning saber fencing are absolutely not incorrect. The problem is that they are not used as shown on horseback. We can trace these parries all the way to the 13th century, and the system that you were taught probably took shape during the 14th and 15th century with cut and thrust fencing. So how would you use these parries on horseback if you were fighting with a sword? Well, you certainly wouldn't want to cut through your legs and the horse's back if you're going from the first parry to the second parry. How do you use them? Like this. And now, for the first time in 100 years, the parries of saber swordsmanship on horseback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you think about it, it makes complete sense. If you're on horseback, from the third parry you can go to the 6th guard, protecting your back. From the 4th parry, you can go to the 5th guard, protecting your back, all the while without interfering with yourself while you're on the horse. So it's a very viable system, it's just that it's been forgotten. You're thinking that's just common sense and you could have figured that out. Well, good, more power to you. There are a lot of people with years or even decades of experience that don't recognize tactical errors when they're making them, because they're so caught up in the way that they're doing things. You need a broad perspective to be able to see it, and that takes decades. Not 1 or 2, but maybe 3 or 4. So that was something that you thought worked, that I made you think didn't work, when in fact it did work. How about something that you think works, that I think doesn't work? Let me give you another example. What about stick fighting? Everybody knows what stick fighting is. Everybody probably practices some sort of stick fighting, right? But stick fighting or sword fighting is not just waving a stick or a sword around. The thing is, these were developed as weapons arts to be used in formation. That is to say, with somebody next to you. The way that they've come to us is mostly through dueling applications. But people often confuse dueling with fighting. It's not the same thing. So what happens, if you swing a stick around and you don't take the guy next to you into account? Or a sword for that matter. Well, probably something like this. You think I'm being too harsh, huh? Watch your instructor the next time he uses a staff or a stick in class. Is he hitting a soldier in line next to him? I bet you he probably is. What do you do about it? Well, in Pamahon, the first thing that we teach a student regarding a staff is how to use it in this manner. And why is that important? Because you don't hit the guy next to you. So in this series of videos, which I'm going to call Tactical Errors, I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off. That's okay. What's important is they start thinking about what they're doing, because unfortunately, people have been killed by tactical errors.